Today, we're going to explore a really simple but honestly a pretty profound idea. It's something that can completely change how you see yourself and even how you connect with other people. It's called the principle of the knowledge circle.
So before we jump in, let's just start with a moment of gratitude. For the knowledge that really illuminates our path, that helps us understand the world around us and the world inside of us. Because that understanding, that's exactly what we're going to be mapping out today.
So let me just ask you this. Have you ever really stopped to think about the shape of your own understanding? Like, if you could draw a map of everything you know and everything you don't know, what would it actually look like?
Well, that's really what this principle is all about. It gives us a map of our own mind, a way to actually visualize our own knowledge. So let's dive in and see what that looks like.
So the whole idea is that our knowledge, and I mean all of it, the stuff we're aware of and the stuff we're not, can be broken down into 4 distinct concentric circles. It's a really simple visual, but it's powerful because it helps us get a handle on the true scale of what we know compared to the vast ocean of what we don't.
Okay, so let's walk through these 4 circles and we'll start right there in the middle.
Right at the very center, you've got Circle 1. This is what you know you know. You can think of this as your conscious competence. It's the stuff you just know, like knowing how to ride a bike, or speaking your native language, or knowing your best friend's name. It's all the facts and skills you can pull up without even thinking about it.
But here's the kicker, and this is really the key takeaway. This circle, the one we live in every day, the one we often define ourselves by, is actually, by far, the smallest of them all.
Okay, so let's move out to the next circle. This is Circle 2, what you know you've forgotten. This is all that stuff you learned at some point, but it's kind of faded from your active memory. It's like dormant knowledge, just waiting for a little nudge to be reawakened. Think about, that algebra formula you had to memorize for a test in high school, or maybe the first few chords you learned on a guitar years ago. You know you once knew it, but right now you can't quite grab it. And this circle, it's a whole lot bigger than the first one.
All right, now we're expanding out even further to Circle 3. This is what you know you don't know. This is your conscious incompetence. Basically, it's all the areas where you're totally aware that you're lacking knowledge. And believe me, this circle represents a huge leap in scale.
For instance, I'm pretty sure you know that you don't know how to perform brain surgery. Or maybe you know that you can't speak fluent Japanese or fly an airplane. You can actually name these gaps in your knowledge. And being able to do that, well, that's a real sign of self-awareness.
And then we arrive at the 4th and final circle. This is what you don't know you don't know. And this is different. This isn't just a gap in your knowledge. It's a gap in your awareness. It's the boundless, infinite universe of concepts, ideas, and realities that you've never even heard of. Things you don't even know to ask about. Okay, now just take a look at this visual. This right here is the aha moment. Do you see that tiny, tiny little sliver? That is everything you know you know. And then look at that vast, almost overwhelming space around it. That is what you don't know you don't know. When you see it like this, it kind of changes everything, doesn't it? It's not really about what we know. It's about how we relate to this infinite unknown. So, okay, what do we do with this? What does this map actually mean for us in our daily lives? Well, its first amazing gift is that it's a great equalizer. It perfectly balances our humility and our confidence. Here's the thing. Everyone has these same 4 circles. You, me, the most brilliant scientist on the planet, a child just learning to read, we all have a tiny first circle and a completely infinite 4th one. The structure is totally universal. And when you really truly let that sink in, a couple of incredible things start to happen. First, you can let go of that insecurity about what you don't know. Why? Because you realize we're all surrounded by a huge, infinite sea of things we don't know.
And at the same time, you can let go of any arrogance about what you do know, because you see just how tiny that little circle really is in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, so beyond that, this model also gives us a really simple but honestly revolutionary way to think about how we communicate and connect with people.
Here's a trap I think we all fall into, right? We try to communicate by just taking something from our little no-no circle and, well, just handing it to someone else. But that almost never works. Most of the time, it just leads to confusion or boredom or even makes the other person frustrated.
So yeah, the ineffective way is to just broadcast from your own little island of knowledge. The effective way, it's about traveling to their island first. You've got to start where they are.
And this really brings us to a golden rule for any kind of effective communication. You have to start with what they know. Find some common ground, a shared point in their circle of knowledge, and then you can build a bridge from that spot to the new idea you want to share. So finally, let's bring this all together and see how we can actually use this map to cultivate true wisdom. In some Vietnamese cultures, they have a word for this, Nguyen Bac, which is this state of really profound, humble understanding.
And the path to get there, it's not super complicated, but it definitely takes practice. So, number 1, acknowledge and be confident in what you know. 2, be really honest about what you don't know. 3, listen with humility, remembering that every single person knows something you don't. 4, ask questions, not to test people, but with real, genuine curiosity. And finally, number 5, make it a lifelong journey to slowly, patiently expand that tiny inner circle, always drawing new knowledge from that infinite outer one. And so that really leaves us with one final thought. Now that you have this map of your own mind, now that you can see the landscape of your own understanding, the question really changes. It's not, what do I know anymore? The real question is, what new territories will you choose to explore next?
If this idea of mapping your mind resonated with you, I hope you'll subscribe so you can continue exploring new territories of knowledge with us. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today.